Polish food, clothing, customs, as well as pride is bound to be brimming in Northampton this weekend as part of the annual Pulaski Day Parade. Bob Gibowicz, the chairman of Northampton's Polish Heritage Committee, filled me in on why the group makes this an annual event.
I think it's very important in as much as Western Mass is represented by a large Polish community, and it gives us an opportunity to express and show our pride in our Polish heritage and culture.
And the day, it's a day-long celebration in addition to the parade. And the day begins with a Mass, this year at St. Elizabeth Ann Seton Church. What's the Mass celebrate? The
Mass celebrates the remembrance of General Casimir Pulaski, who was a great patriot, not only to his country in Poland, but also to the United States, so much that he gave his life.
Is it true that he saved the life of George Washington, or is that just internet rumor, or do we know?
I think that's internet rumor. This is the first that I'm hearing of that.
I saw that, I think, maybe on a Wikipedia page somewhere, and I just thought it would be a fun fact to toss your way. But certainly, he's celebrated or marked in Northampton every single day. There's a statue there that was dedicated in the 20s. I think it was President Hoover that dedicated the...
I'm not sure that it was President Hoover, but the mayor of Northampton was the one that really received the monument from contributions and gifts made by the Polish community of Northampton and surrounding areas.
So we're talking about many years. It's the 32nd annual parade, but going well before that, where there was a real sense of Polish pride in the city of Northampton.
Yes. It goes way back into the late 1800s when the first immigrants came from the United States to work in the area of farmlands as well as the factories.
And I think I read on Mass Live that one of the members of the parade committee, another fellow organizer, said that even it was advertised, Northampton was advertised in Europe to people who might be living there that might want to come here because of the work that was available, right?
That's correct. It was an opportunity for those people suffering in Poland. As you may know, that at that time Poland was partitioned and really was not recognized as a country, and here it was an opportunity for these poor immigrants to come to the United States for a job opportunity and a much better life than they had been accustomed to.
And so for this year's parade, co-grand marshals, two retiring state representatives, Representatives John Sybeck and Stephen Kulik. Why did you want to involve them in the festivities this year?
Well, first of all, they're of Polish descent. I think that's most
Check
important.
One box, right?
Yeah, right. We're proud of the contributions that so many Polish people have made to not only Western Massachusetts, but to the country and nation as a whole. And this is one way that we can recognize to the public that we have some representatives or the politicians here in Massachusetts of Polish descent.
Yeah, and also Stephanie Kraft, who is a longtime reporter for the Valley Advocate, when I was reading in Mass Live about this year's parade, mentioned that she went to Poland in the late 90s, began reporting on it, and now is translating text from Polish into English.
Yes, and to my understanding, she's not even Polish.
She just likes the community.
She fell in love with the country Poland and has gone back a number of years and has done a lot of work in translating some of the Polish literature and history into the English language.
And so that's, I think, a great point, right? So here's Stephanie, who you don't even think is of Polish descent, but really embraced the community and the culture. So I think for some people, they'll look at this and say, oh, Polish Day celebration, Polish parade. I'm not Polish. I'm staying home. What would you say to them?
Well, I think they're making a big mistake.
Why is that?
Well, I think this is an opportunity to show the people of Western Mass and the Commonwealth the contributions of the Polish people and what they represent and how they came to this country to help build it and make it a better country.
And so a parade, I don't think a parade or a celebration would be either without the food. So what can people expect to eat? What can they be smelling? What should they be seeking out that day?
Well, some of the Polish food will naturally be some of lazy pierogi, some gołąbki, maybe some kielbasa, kapusta. So some of those traditional Polish delicacies will be offered.
And so pierogi is a potato-filled pastry almost, right?
Yes.
Or pasta type.
Yes.
And then gołąbki. Break down some of the elements of that for folks who haven't had it before.
Gołąbki is a combination of beef, pork, rice, wrapped in a big cabbage leaf.
And I have to
Very
say,
delicious.
My grandmother makes the best, I have to say. But some others at the parade might rival what she has going on. For you, Polish heritage, was it something that you always had sort of from a young age? Was it something your family taught you? Or is it something that you came to later in life, did some research, and wanted to learn more about it?
I was happy and proud that both my parents were of Polish descent. And I've always felt that Polish was dear to me. When I moved from Greenfield to Northampton in 1969, I joined the Polish church, St. John Cantius Church. I became a member of the Holy Name Society, and it was there that we started thinking about the Pulaski Day Parade and celebrating Polish American Heritage Month. So I've been involved with Polish organizations, anything to do with Poland, for a number of years.
And so you have on a special bolero and a pin. What's the symbol representing?
The pin is the Polish Heritage Committee emblem. And I'm proud to be Polish. I'm proud to be American. I have the Polish and American flags on my lapel.
One thing I've heard you talk about before is the sense that there used to be a geographical defined, community, whether it was Italian American or Polish or what have you. And now people are more spread out. People live different lives. How do you help people connect to that heritage, even if they're not living in a concentrated area?
Well, I think the parade is one aspect, bringing out the Polish people, letting the public know that there's still an interest to keep our Polish heritage and culture alive, and reminding them of their Polish heritage.